Welcome to Making Awesome Podcast. Just making sure that everything is looking okay. Let me know if you guys can see me. This is season 3, episode 11. I can see me, which means y'all can probably see me. We're going to be hanging out and chatting all about 3D scanners. I know this is an interesting topic for some. Because some people are like, oh, well, 3D scanners, I can't afford them. Well, you might be able to. You might actually be able to afford them and just not know it. Real quick, before we get too deep into it, I need to make sure my microphone is set up correctly because that was something that wasn't right last time. So give me just a second to make sure that my audio is set correctly. Looks like it is. Let's see. Tappy tap, 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 tap. Okay, probably right. But before we get too far into it, today is the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Sanjay Mortimer. It is November 27th, 2022. And so those of you that have benefited from E3D, their products, have met Sanjay, haven't met Sanjay, have enjoyed our interview with him, call someone you love. Tell them you love him, because you don't know when you may not have that opportunity anymore. And those of you that do have the ability to do so, of course, a couple of bucks over to the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation via E3D, I'm sure would be greatly appreciated from them. So, yeah, just we lost a visionary in this industry way too young, and I'm thankful for the opportunity that I had to interview him. One of the last interviews he did before his passing, actually. And I don't know. I bought this shirt at ERF, and it kind of felt fitting to wear it for the first time on camera today. I'm going to be filming Wednesday's video today as well, so this shirt will be in Wednesday's video. So, yeah. Kind of a somber way to start, but I figure it is important for us to minimally acknowledge it, but more specifically, remember the man for the amazing things that he did, and how he and the E3D team have shaped the way that we as makers interact with this whole industry, because it's a little different. Anyways, 3D scanners. Scanners are, and it's JP asks, are the affordable ones any good? You have to define what any good means. And I know that's such a, Grant, you're setting the bar a little low when you start that way, right? Define what is cheap and what is good, right? And we've got a few to talk about, right? We're not just going to talk about, an Artec Eva. By the way, I don't really have any of the scanners handy. It's a little busy in the office right now, which means there's crap everywhere. But I would say the cheaper the scanner, generally, the worse the software is going to be. But Ostrike is right. Affordable, a smartphone. Those of you that have Apple products and you have some of the newer iPhones and iPads, they have built-in LiDAR. And this isn't the Bamboo Lab LiDAR. This is actual LiDAR. It's used for your Face ID, and it's used for some other depth mapping things that Apple does. But you can get some pretty decent scans off it. Now, don't expect sub-millimeter accuracy, right? If you can get 2 to 3 millimeter accuracy out of an iPhone LiDAR scanner, I would say that's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good mark. Now, you can use apps like Polycam. Polycam is available on both iOS and Android. I am an avid Android user. I'm currently rocking a Galaxy S20 FE, but previously I had a Pixel 3a XL, and I actually just got in to play around with a OG Pixel XL. Those of you that know the significance of this phone will know precisely what I'm doing with it. Those of you that don't, it's fine. It's really insignificant unless you care. But yeah, the big thing with scanning is trying to get your accuracy up. And accuracy is pretty much the thing that we all chase, right? Chasing zeros is a commonality in the 3D scanning industry. It's like, well, how accurate is your scanner? Well, it depends, right? And as Worst Peter says, photogrammetry is always an option. Photogrammetry is an option. There are particularly some issues with photogrammetry that have not worked themselves out yet that I'm not a huge fan of. One of it being you need really good cameras that are really well tuned for it to work well. Yes, you can walk around a subject with a phone, with a DSLR, whatever it might be, and get an okay image. It's not going to be great. It's going to be good enough for government work. And yeah. Now, if you wanted to build a photogrammetry rig, I would say a Pi and Polycam rig is a very affordable way to do it, but you might be able to get cheap DSLRs on the secondhand market for less. The problem with photogrammetry is it takes up a ton of space. Like proper photogrammetry arrays, ones that are kind of, like it looks like something out of the friggin' Matrix, right? That's actually how they did bullet time. It was a form of photogrammetry. But those are, in my opinion, still the best type of scanners out there. Good photogrammetry arrays are some of the best out there because they're instant. I don't have to wait. I don't have to walk around something. There's not a ton of flashing light like there is with structured light scanners. You don't have lasers like you do with blue light scanners. And yeah, it depends, .jpg. And that is unfortunate that it is kind of like, it depends. But I would say if you are a DIYer, photogrammetry is probably your best option, just straight up. And if you use something like the dual axis turntable from RevoPoint, which is like $100, combined with a DSLR at a known distance, you should be able to get pretty damn good results. I'm going to add that to my video notes tracker because that was something that I just thought about right freaking now. See, this like literally be typing it out. Axis turntable. Because otherwise my dumbass is going to forget. Geek Toy Box, you used Polycam, I believe. Yeah, you did use photogrammetry function of Polycam. The scans were a little taller in the slice than they were IRL. And Quentin Luter? Sure. Said he invested in a RevoPoint pop a while back. It's decent, but overall you get what you pay for. I'd agree. I mean, I have the Mini. Totally would agree. It is absolutely what you get what you pay for. The scanner that has... Well, really, my favorite budget scanner right now is still the occipital structure scanner. Like, it's still... They just friggin' work, dude. You plug them into an iPad. It uses the processing power of an iPad, and they just work. I don't know where mine is. It's on my iPad, and I don't know where my iPad is. But I have an iPad Air 2 and a Gen 1 structure scanner, and it works pretty darn good. Like, okay, 2 to 3 millimeter accuracy, but for my purposes, right, we were scanning full-size humans and making them 6 inches tall. If you are 2 millimeters off at 1.5 meters to 2 meters tall, and you're going to make it 150 millimeters tall, it doesn't matter. The accuracy of your printer is going to matter more. So it's like, utilize for what you need. If you're trying to do 1-to-1 scale replicas of things, yeah, you're going to need a better scanner than, a $600 iPad scanner. But I'll say, man, iPad Air 2, that's an old iPad, and the Gen 1 occipital structure, for a long time, was my go-to. I didn't want to bother with my Artec Eva scanner. And to this day, it is still the I don't want to bother with my Artec Eva scanner. Because the Eva has more cables, it needs power, it needs a freaking laptop, and all those other things. I'm processing scans. If you guys see me over here doing scan processing stuff, it's because it's what I'm doing. But, yeah, I don't know. I like it. We use the app It Sees 3D, ITSEEZ 3D. And the only issue with that app is it's pay to play, right? You can scan for free all you want, but you can't export. And the exports are like $8 a piece, or you get like unlimited exports for a certain amount a month. I don't know. It's a good app though, and it works. Full-size scans of people to recreate in parts of my 3D printer. Is it possible without paying an arm and a leg? Hold on. Let me get my golf clap for you. My golf clap. My golf clap is here. That's good. I will say the last time we did a full-size human in full color Samsonite was $18,000 US, to give you an idea. And it was Steve Aoki, because some people have that kind of money. I don't. Does it help calibration to scatter rulers and T-squares throughout the scene? I know nothing. It can. So, actually, you guys will see this. You'll see this in an upcoming video, but of course I have the Mini, and the one thing that I complained about in my initial review of the RevoPoint Mini was that it doesn't track worth a damn at all. Like, it sucks at tracking. So, someone pointed this out to me in the comments. This is a printed part that screws into the plate. There are factory mounting points in this plate. They're 1/4-20. And so this uses factory mounting points, and it's got just some extra surface detail on it. That should help the Mini track better. I have not really been able to. Is Twitch not working? I have no idea if Twitch is working. I'm sorry. I don't, I really don't stream. I'm just literally multi-streaming. Like, I don't pay attention to Twitch. So if you're watching on Twitch, I am not paying attention to you. So come on over to YouTube. Sorry, Duff. Yeah, we're pretty much pure YouTube. I don't know. We might do Twitch. You guys will have to tell me. I don't really see the value in Twitch for what we do because we don't stream all the time. Currently, as it stands, I don't stream enough to get partnered in Twitch, so we can't make money on it. And even though the streams don't normally make us a ton of money, every little bit counts to making this channel, hopefully one day soon, pay for itself. So, yeah. But yeah, with scanning, most structured light scanners, good structured light scanners, do not need tracking dots. You can see there are tracking dots on this. Those little white dots are reflective, and the scanners can see that. Now, apparently, I found this out talking to a buddy of mine. If you have someone that does vinyl cutting somewhere near you, have them do black with a reflective silver or reflective white dot in the center of it for you. It's just two pieces of vinyl overlaid on top of each other, and they will be able to do tracking dots for you for way less than you can buy them for, and they will work just as well. So those of you wanting to get into scanning that requires trackers, hey, good thing to know. Lean and Rain says you could do a stream of a printer printing for 30 hours or something, or a scanner of scanning something, to be back on the subject. We stream to MakerDeck, so if we are doing any 3D printing or 3D scanning or whatever that we can stream, we stream to MakerDeck. So if you don't know MakerDeck, it is twitch.tv/MakerDeck. Duff was trying to avoid pocket moderation. I mean, Duff, I can unmod you if you want. But it is amazing how accessible the technology is, right? Like, this dual-axis turntable, dual-axis meaning it spins and it rotates. You can see the rotational axis here, and then it also spins here. This would have cost me $1,000 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It would have cost me so much more money a few years ago. This thing is $100. It's $100 damn dollars. And that is absolutely cheap. And if you are going to get into 3D scanning of things that are roughly this size or smaller, buy this damn plate. And there is an Android app that lets you control this via Bluetooth. It is not officially supported by RevoPoint, but before RevoPoint had their own controller out for this available, like their own software-based controller, somebody had cracked the Bluetooth code and written a Android app that works. So if you don't have an Android phone, go on a Swappa, go on a Craigslist or eBay or whatever, and buy a cheap Android burner phone and use that. Or something. But yeah, the tech has gotten crazy. I mean, the fact that you can put a 3D scanner in your pocket, and I'm not just talking about like a Revo Point, I'm talking about a friggin' iPhone, blows my mind. I've been a diehard Android and Windows user for years. I've never used Apple products daily. We do own an iPad. I bought it for 3D scanning. It was also the music controller for our previous shop. We used it as just a touch screen to change whatever music that you wanted, because I'm a bit of a fiend for music, and I don't want people to listen to music they don't want to listen to. So when we had a slow day, we'd have the iPad out. People could listen to whatever they wanted, because we actually had a pretty decent setup for a retail shop. But yeah, the tech is kind of insane with how accessible it has gotten throughout the years, and the price has come down. Now, hilariously, if I say 3D scanners for under $1,000, iPhones are now gone from that, right? A top-end iPhone's going to cost you at least, what, $1,200, $1,300. But the value is, of course, it does more than just iPhone things. But I don't want us just to look at cheap options, right? I love my Artec scanners. I love my Ray. I love my Eva. My Eva is a great scanner. It's easy to use. And if all goes well, I am buying a Space Spider here relatively soon, so we'll have their smaller scanner variant. So that'll be kind of cool for us to have as well. But that is currently getting validated to make sure that it still functions properly. If it does, then it will be in my possession. If it doesn't, well, then I won't have it. But nonetheless, the Eva's a great scanner, but they're 20 grand brand new. And then the software for it, which actually this is the software for an Artec Eva, is $1,200 a year. That, my friends, is a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a 3D scanner. I mean, like the software alone costs more than most of the other scanners that we're going to be talking about per year. But, you know, the software is currently filling holes and texturing on a 4-core, 8-threaded Ryzen laptop. And it doesn't care. It runs a little slower than it would on my 8-core, 16-thread Intel with a 1080 Ti desktop PC. But because the software is locked to the computer, I can transfer it. You are able to transfer the software only a certain amount of times. However, Artec does not tell you how many times that is. And I'm told eventually it just stops letting you transfer. So whatever computer it's on there forever. And that's stupid. So I don't transfer it. I've reached out to Artec to try to work with them professionally. I think it'd be pretty cool for us to work together to make content. And, you know, in lieu of actual payment, I would love to get a couple of extra licenses for their software, so I can put it on my editing PC, which sits above me, which is a 10400 6-core 12-thread with a 1080 Ti on it. It does nothing but stream to MakerDeck and edit videos. It'd be amazing. But yes, 1080 Ti gang, and even further, the EVGA RIP for the Win 3. Pretty much awesome. Nobody asks Bamboo Lab 3D printer, what do you think, bruh? 2 videos. We just talked about this the past couple of weeks. You can go back and listen to those live streams. My opinion on Bamboo Lab is well noted, and it stands very, very obvious to this day. Yes, Leonid, this is texturing as well. So on the screen is an individual who has got 0 texture on it at all. And now, since it was a full color scan, it is going to texture it as well. MadCat USA, thank you for re-upping your subscription. I appreciate it. He says, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. It is the afternoon for me, but good morning to you. Good evening to wherever you might be as well, if that is your kind of deal. And you do have to look at what you're looking for in a scanner, right? We're going to show off a scanner in the channel soon, the Einscan Pro 2X. I bought it on eBay, paid about $2,400 for it, I believe, or $2,200, somewhere in that range, a little over $2,000. And it does not do color. It is just geometry and tracker, the little sticker, tracker dot based texturing. And for the money, it should be a pretty good scanner. Now, hilariously, they have a color pack upgrade for it. It's like $500 used. But I bought that scanner used off eBay, and it came broken. I actually had to send it back to the company at a significant cost to me to get it repaired. That scanner has been repaired and it does work. We're going to film a few videos with it, and then I'm going to put it back up for sale because ultimately I've used it, I like it, but I have other scanners that serve that purpose. So also understanding what your purposes are. Do you need full color? If you don't need full color, then you can look at other scanners that might give you better detail, but you lose the texture capability to it. Now, one of the big companies that we see out there for scanners outside of Artec, right? They kind of set the standard for what software should be. And by the way, you guys saw me start the whole filling and texturing process. I'll tell you when it finishes. It's a little under halfway done. Creaform with their Peel 3D scanners. The Peel 3 just came out. It's 10 Gs, but at 10 Gs, it actually looks like a pretty good scanner. I've reached out to Creaform for a review unit, even if I can borrow it for a little bit, and they have basically said, we don't do that kind of thing. If you want, you can buy one. So I sent them videos of where they've clearly done that thing, and then they didn't respond to me. Because, like, I don't want to buy a $10,000 scanner to make a 30-minute video on it and then get stuck with a $10,000 scanner that I really probably don't have a lot of use for because my EVA will do the same thing. Now, had the Peel 3 been out when I was looking at buying an EVA? Maybe. But I did something that a lot of people are looking at doing. Buying your scanners used. My EVA and Ray, in fact, most of my scanners were bought used. My EVA, my Ray, my Pro 2X, and the Spider have all been bought used. I have a Shining 3D Einstar, and I have the Revo Point Mini, both of and the occipital structure scanner. Those were all bought brand new. Hilariously, the brand new ones are the cheap ones, right? They're sub $1,000. The expensive ones are the ones that I buy used. And I buy them used because their value on the secondhand market is like next to nothing, right? A $20,000 EVA will easily go for under 10 grand. Easy. And the Ray, I have the most affordable Ray on the planet. I don't want to say the price I got it for because at some point I might look at selling it and I would like to make a little bit of money on it. But suffice to say, I have a very good deal on the Ray. The Rays are $60,000 brand new, and there's one going on eBay last I checked for $45,000. Now, that's a $15,000 price reduction. That's a lot of money. That's a 20%. Is that right? No, 25% price reduction. That's a lot of money, right? And if you need a scanner like that, well, then you need a scanner like that. And there's not a lot of other options out there. Gregory Pfeiffer's asking, how viable is a 3D scanner in a 3D printing business? Is it possible to scan a broken part and modify it in CAD and reprint? Kind of. So I think they're viable as hell, but we have very specific use cases. Our EVA has been primarily used to scan professional sports athletes for use in making custom compression gear. Anytime you guys have seen me work with professional sports teams, like when I was flown out to work with the 49ers, and I was flown out to work with the Flyers, I didn't film for the Bucks, but we worked with the Bucks as well. They're local. I just drove out to them. We were scanning the players to make custom fit compression gear. There's a big market for that, right? Because if you can get even a % better than the other team, well, then you have the ability to play like Michigan played against the Buckeyes yesterday, unfortunately. I don't like Michigan. Anyways, go State. But go green, as my dad would say. But there is some viability. So to give you, we scanned a Boston Dynamics Spot Dog. It's a pretty cool job. They want to make some custom parts for it. Boston Dynamics refused to give out the CAD, so they're like, hey, can you scan it? I'm like, yeah, I can scan it. The problem is it's not going to give you a surfaces and solids model, right? When you design in CAD, you're used to like flat surfaces. You do not get that with scanners, right? Peel 3D has the Peel 3 CAD, the Peel 2 CAD, the Peel 2S CAD, and they have software that will turn those polygon faceted surfaces into regular surfaces and solids. Traditionally, what we have done is take that polygon mesh, toss it into Fusion or your preferred Poison for CAD packages, and just modeled over it, right? With Artec software. By the way, it finished. Yeah, I don't know. It finished in 140 seconds. So, no, sorry. 293 seconds. 293.316 seconds. It tells me on the screen. Mad Cat USA wants to know, ooh, Elizabeth Neiman says go blue. I might have to ban them for that. Don't ban them, mods, please don't. Mad Cat USA is asking if I'm focusing on business or personal. I'm doing a bit of both. Scanners are... I think the use cases for businesses and personal are pretty much the same. I think the budgets are a little bit different. And even cheap, affordable scanners can still be used for business cases. Like, I love that RevoPoint Mini as long as it works. If it doesn't work, it's a pain in the ass. So, sorry, I didn't want this one to be 2 videos, because I think if it was going to be 2 live streams, I'd have to make them like 30-minute live streams. And I think everyone prefers the hour-plus long streams. Where was I? I don't know where I was before I got moved around like that. Oh, scan a cat. So yeah, we'll put the scan in, and then we'll just draw the cat over it. With the EVA, Artec Studio will tell me what my known variable is. So in this particular scan here, I'll apply the texture. In this particular scan, my largest deviation is 0.6 millimeters. So I know for a fact that the most deviation that I have is 0.6 millimeters from real. And the reason it knows this is it can detect the points from one image to the other. Because as the EVA, it's projecting a... Ooh, hit my mic. It is projecting a pattern on your model or whatever you're scanning. And that then is measured. Every single image that it takes, it's measuring based on the one before it, and it can measure that deviation that exists. And that's why, like, as Geek Toy Box is saying, dogs are hard. They like to move too much for a good scan. That's why photogrammetry booths are great for dogs, because photogrammetry happens instantly. Quentin Lucher asks, do I have any tips on getting a full body scan? Face scans are fine, but I wanted to print a copy of my boxer puppy for my wife. Yeah, dogs are going to be a pain in the ass. Do it when the dog's asleep. It's pretty much the only way to do it. This one's a little morbid, but we used to work with a client that had a photogrammetry rig, and it was often that we would have people that after their pets have crossed the rainbow bridge, if you will, they would want to get them scanned and printed. And it's really morbid. Like, everybody's crying, right? Because the family's not happy about what they're doing because, the dog or cat or whatever just crossed the rainbow bridge. But you know that you're doing it for the right reasons. So, you gotta do it. But as Worst Peter says, you can do photogrammetry with a moving camera and a fixed object. But again, if you're going to do it of a puppy or something that isn't going to stand still, that's a pain in the ass. What I've seen people do in the past is build a stationary platform and then use a big ball bearing or a Lazy Susan or something, and then have a camera on that you can rotate on many different axes, right? So you have known lockable points. And since you know the distance from that camera to the center of your plate, you know exactly what your distances are. So you can easily generate a 3D model based on that. There is tons of value in something that... Worst Peter says, are we talking about the Rainbow Bridge from Mark? No, the pet is dead. Okay, like, I'm trying to walk around that point. It's when people's pets die, some of them like to do, whether it's a last photo or a paw print or an indentation. Some people want them scanned and printed. I don't ask a lot of questions, man. I don't ask a lot of questions. Like, what are you supposed to say, right? Hey, they say, hey, we unfortunately we have to put our dog down later today. Is it possible for us to come by with the body and get it scanned? Like, are you gonna say no to that? How do you say no to that? Like, you can't say no to that. Yeah, no, Mad Cat, I already got there. Sorry, I'm trying not to make this a somber episode, but here we go. One again. God. Anyways, yeah, you gotta really think about what, like what type of scanner that you want, right? Are you looking for, um, are you looking for a scanner to do small parts, right? Then the RevoPoint Mini is pretty much your only option. Unless you're going to go with like an Artec Micro, but I think those are something like 40 grand. The RevoPoint Mini should do a great job, but it is absolutely crippled by its software. Now, that's something I want to bring up. I love the Shining 3D Einstar. I love it as a scanner. Oh my God, is its software atrocious. Its software is so freaking bad. It is better than RevoPoint software, but at least RevoPoint software won't just eat up all my RAM in 3 minutes and crash my computer, like hard crash my computer. It doesn't even try to cache the RAM. It just uses it till it hits 100 and then everything starts failing. And like, I've got 32 gigs in here. It works perfectly fine for my Artec EVA. In fact, I've scanned over 20 minutes with my Artec EVA without any issues from my laptop. I am routinely CPU bound on this thing. It's not a great laptop. It's a GTX 1650 and a Ryzen 3750H, okay? 4 cores, 8 threads, 4 gigs of VRAM. It's a very generic laptop. I bought it a few years back. The goal is to get a better computer at some point. Worst Peter says, sounds like a memory leak. That's a bug in the software. It is absolutely a bug in the software. In fact, they still have debug mode turned on in the software. The software doesn't even feel like it's an official release. However, if you have a computer with more balls than mine, then I think the Einstar is a great option against the Artec EVA, because the Einstar is under $1,000 for the scanner, and the software is free. So, like, there becomes a point where it doesn't pay to use a more expensive scanner, and it just pays to buy like a $3,000 laptop. But I've got a bit of a problem where I need to buy a $2,000 or $3,000 laptop for a sub $1,000 3D scanner just because its software sucks. Now, that's like my feeling. The Einstar is a good scanner. I don't like its ergonomics, but it has a 1/4-20 mount on it, so you can print a handle for it. My buddy Eric Cederberg has made a few different handles. I got to try a couple myself, but I can't run the scanner on my laptop, so it doesn't matter. That's the issue that we deal with. We deal with like all of these problems where scanners are held back because of their crappy software. Like, RevoPoint makes amazing hardware. That RevoPoint Mini is a phenomenal scanner when it can actually track. But because its software is lacking, it doesn't track very well. And its software has got to be one of the worst that I've dealt with in the industry. So, like, if you don't have a ton of money to spend, the RevoPoint Mini or even the RevoPoint Pop 2 are good scanners, but you have to recognize, similar to buying a cheap 3D printer, right? If you go buy an Ender 3, you're going to spend more time working on it than you will when you would as a Prusa, right? Or hold on for all the fanboys, a Bamboo Lab. Ooh. Like, there are price differences, and I can't sit there and expect a $600 scanner to compete with like an Einscan HX, which is a real blue laser light scanner from Shining 3D. I cannot expect them to compete. People try to, but you just can't. Shotgunner 5609 says, Jesus, wonder how mine would do with 32 gigs in a 3080. See, it's not the GPU. It never runs out of GPU. It runs out of RAM before it runs out of GPU. It literally just eats up RAM. I can open up Chrome tabs and use less RAM than this thing uses while it's scanning. And it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Because, like, I've had people look at the software, and these are like people that know what they're doing. They're like, God, there are so many things wrong with this software. And I don't know how to fix it because, well, I'm pretty much an idiot when it comes to software work, but kind of is what it is. Right? You know, ultimately, it is what it is. But yeah, I believe that it is kind of you get what you pay for. Oh, Lena, you're out of here. We'll see you later, buddy. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. It is kind of a get what you pay for, but I think that there are some of these in-betweens that really punch above their weight class. Like, I believe the occipital structure scanner punches above its weight class. It is. It is much better than it should be. Now, I have their Gen 1. I think they're on Gen 2 or Gen 3 now. I have not used them. I should reach out to them to compare it. That'd be a pretty cool video. Adding to my personal notes. That way my dumbass doesn't forget. Because it would be kind of cool to compare their Gen 1 versus their newest generation. Because, yeah, again, you can get pretty good value for little money. I think the Einstar, if they could get their software together, could wipe the floor with our tech. And I don't say that like... I don't say that lightly, right? I spent a lot of money with our tech. And I don't think the Einstar is going to get as good precision as the EVA. Like, on paper, it doesn't. But if they could get a software that is as good or close to being as good as Artec Studio, Artec would really have to innovate to make life complicated. Duff is asking if there are any open source projects. I mean, photogrammetry is open source by its nature, but the software that it runs a lot of times does benefit under closed source. There are open source softwares for it, but yeah. And unfortunately, unlike the 3D printer market, the move for open source 3D scanning has not been that great. It just hasn't, because ultimately, not many people actually need it. And a lot of times we can get by more with even a cheap pair of calipers than we could with a cheap scanner. But when you look at certain things, like the spot dog, for instance, it's not flat. The top of the dog is curved. And to copy that curve properly in CAD to get your parts to fit properly would be a freaking disaster. Absolute disaster. It is, as John Carver says, great for complex services. And yeah, there's a lot of value in complex services. Like my buddy Frank, I guess he goes by Grubby Zebra, when he sent over the HOTAS, which I still have. I need to finish scanning that for him. I've been out of town. I was down visiting family for the holidays. We got back kind of early last night. But, you know, that's a part that doing it by hand is just going to take forever. It is so much easier to 3D scan it and work with that than it would be to do it some other way. So, something to note there. Worse Peter says radius gauges and splines. Yeah, you could. You could, and you could probably get it close enough. But when you are looking to spend that kind of money, do you want close enough? Or do you want it right? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Is good enough okay? Or do you want it a little bit better? Sorry, I'm a little warm. So I'm turning down my air conditioner. It's very warm in Florida today. It is 27°C outside, for those that are wondering. It is 80. Oh, it is also 27°C in my office. It's exactly the same temperature. Cool. But yeah, you see, and yes, you could do it with radius gauges and splines. However, I can do it faster with a scanner. It took me 20 minutes to scan the dog and another 30, 40 minutes to process it. We went back, did a little bit of extra scanning, and then we ended up rescanning the dog one more time just to make sure that everything was copacetic, right? Ultimately, I want to, you know, do it right. And you can do it right or you can do it fast, right? So, John, are you the same John Carver that I know? I don't know if it is. Might be. But, you know, again, you can put in the work on something like a Polycam rig, right? There are tons of people that have done a slider, and when you're okay, cool. How's it going, buddy? Um, when you want to do, let's say you want to do a fixed point scanner, like you're scanning a fixed object and you want to rotate around it, that is pretty easy to do. You need a curved arm that you can move accurately. It could be done relatively accurately, but your arc has to be very rigid. We did one of these a while back where we used a few pies and Polycams. You would stand in the middle of it. We'd have a few pies up around an 8-foot arc. And the idea was that we would spin this around you 180 and then back again, right? So it would go like this and then like that. And since we had 2 arms, yeah, you got your job done. It was good until you got in the way of the rotation. It was rough. It was rough. But now at the cost of pies, you can get an Einstar for roughly the same cost, right? So again, I think the value of some of the ton of like immediate need. And that's kind of the issue, where you're not going to get the detail and accuracy that you would really want to see out of something like that. And that's where I worry. I worry that you're looking for something and yeah, it just, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one because you don't necessarily have, you don't know your accuracy. And if you have an iPhone and you have the LiDAR on it, you can get better results with Polycam than you can if you are an Android lover like I am. Because I don't have that LiDAR, but I also have other scanners. So, of course, there's the Xbox Connect, the old school 360 Connects. Those were some of the most, OG scanners that people would use. And those work okay, similar to a Gen 1 occipital structure scanner. It's just powered by a computer. So that is obviously something you need to be concerned about. Mr. Carver, thank you for bringing up a good point. It's a good segue into material choices. He said, what are your thoughts on surface finishes, matte, shiny, etc., and color, especially black, when handling between various scanners? So I guess we need to back up and talk about types of scanners. The basic types of scanners that we're going to be dealing with, we have LiDAR, we have structured light, and we have FLQ309L says, check out the Einstar 3D scanner. I'm going to be a cheeky bastard here real quick. Give me a second. You mean this one? You mean this one? The one that I bought 2 weeks into when it came out? You mean this one? This Einstar? The one that has software that cripples it, even though it should be a really awesome scanner, but the software makes it absolutely atrocious and terrible to use because it sucks up more RAM than Google Chrome on cocaine? Yeah, that one. Sorry, I just had to be cheeky. But thank you for the $2 super chat. I do have one. I paid for it. I have bought all of my scanners. No cool 3D scanning companies. No scanning companies have sent me free scanners yet. That would be friggin' cool, though. But when I reach out to companies and tell them what I want to do, they all tell me no, because I want to compare it to my Eva as a standard. If Shining 3D can get their heads out of their ass and actually build good software, that scanner will wipe the floor with an Artec Eva for the money. Because you can get a damn good setup for that Einstar for under $3,000, and you cannot get an Artec Eva for under $3,000. And the software is $1,200 a year for the Eva. And yeah, I get it. The Eva's probably going to be a better scanner, but priced for like dollar for dollar, you're not going to get better value than that Einstar, I don't think, until they can fix their freaking software. If they can't fix their software, then I'm sorry, I can't recommend that scanner. And that is going to be my review on that scanner. I am working on long-term reviews with it. You guys will see it on the channel. It will be a fake unboxing for those that watch the podcast. I will do an unboxing of it, but I will have clearly been using it. So something to note. Nonetheless, sorry for being a cheeky asshole, but I felt the need. Thank you for the $2 super chat. So let's talk about the type scanners. The Einstar, the Artec Eva, those are structured light. They use a pattern of visible light and cameras to detect how that visible light is affected by its surroundings, right? So when the light hits something, not streaming. Okay, wait, I think we're back. Yeah, okay, we're back. I don't know what happened. My internet has been fine the whole time. I have no clue. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking, it's like YouTube is saying you're not streaming. I'm like, no, I still have internet. I can see the chat. Sorry about that, guys. I know, it's like every time a streamer's stream dies, you're like, oh, is it me? Is it them? I don't know. Quick, go to speed test. Let's see who it is. And I went to speed test and my stream came back up. So it was my fault. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Everything's on big battery backups now. So I'm going to blame Spectrum. Anyways. All right, so we have structured light like the Einstar and the Eva. Those are good sensors. The problem is they can't do shiny, they can't do clear, and they can't do black. But it has to be like a deep black. If you want to do those things with structured light, you must code it. We're going to be doing a video on coding at some point in the new year. The coding, it's going to be A sub versus the other A sub stuff that I have. I forget what it's called. Foot spray, dry shampoo, and cornstarch. We're going to see what is a better way to coat the parts. The sublimation spray is my kind of choice because it goes away, but A sub is $40 a can, and that's very expensive. When we look at blue light scanners, so the technically, and I learned this the hard way, the what is it? The freaking RevoPoint Mini is technically it's structured light scanner. It is a blue light structured light scanner. It is not a blue laser scanner. FJ Princess Bamboo is trying to silence me. No, if anyone, I would think it's Shining 3D, since I've just been talking so much shit about them. Maybe they have, cut my internet. They now have an office like 30 minutes from where I live, which is kind of cool. Magnaflux white contrast spray. I have heard people say that. I have not tried Magnaflux white spray. So let me grab that. Magnaflux white contrast paint. So how much is, it is, it's the stuff from Grainger. I'm like, I think this is the stuff that people recommend from Grainger. It's a little pricey, isn't it? It looks like it's a little pricey. Yeah, like $34 a can. I mean, I'll try it. I got nothing to lose by trying it. So what the hell? We'll add that to the list. Also, Jonathan, I saw your photo. Tarsman, I saw your photo. Make an adapter to move your extruder farther away, and it'll work just fine. So, yeah. So just do that. Or, put your extruder motor somewhere else. I don't know. You can also look at turning everything to move it away from your lead screw. Anyways. Yeah, the scanning sprays are kind of a pain in the ass because they're expensive. So if you have a structured light scanner, you want to do something that doesn't exactly fall within your means. You might want to look at a different type of scanner. So blue light scanner, blue laser scanner, like the Einscan HX from Shining 3D, those use actual blue lasers, and those can do shiny, black, reflective. It doesn't matter. It just works. And the thing is, they're expensive. Like, Shining 3D is known as one of the affordable companies for 3D scanners. They do very affordable 3D scanners. But the HX, which is a blue light scanner, something like $15,000 to $20,000. Now, mind you, a comparative blue light scanner from a different company is going to run you 3 to 4 times that. So they're giving you a great value. And I will say, so far, Shining 3D has been pretty good on the back and forth working with them. So kudos to them for that. They can actually remote into your computer when you give them access. They have a built-in TeamViewer app into their software. You must enable it, and then when you disable it, it kills it. I checked. And they were able to see exactly what was going on. They were able to take log files from my computer. It was a really cool thing. So I will give them credit for that because I think there's credit where it's due. But the Einstar specifically has a separate scanning app from the other Shining 3D products. So be aware of that. It's like the H and the HX, those will get better results because their software is better. It might just take some time. That's all. We have LiDAR scanners. So LiDAR, I forget how it's done, but I believe it's something like a laser light. LiDAR is a freaking acronym. Hold on. No, I don't want LiDAR absorbing paint. I just want LiDAR. What is, it stands for light detection and ranging. Of course it does. All right, light detection and ranging. So with the Ray that I have, it uses a set of mirrors to project out a non-visible light. Normally this is a laser light. And then it reads how long it takes to get to where, to get to something, right? LiDAR on an iPhone is very similar. I believe they use infrared. I could be wrong. They might use ultraviolet, but they use something. And that LiDAR, they then measure using cameras how that kind of goes about looking at everything. FLQ309L says, I use it for mag particle inspection. Interesting. I don't know who you are, FLQ309L, but we should talk. Email me, youtube@3dmusketeers.com. Let's talk. But yeah, there is LiDAR's weird, right? And don't trust companies that say, oh, our 3D printers have LiDAR. They're full of shit. Bamboo Lab printers do not have LiDAR. And if they do, it is a single line LiDAR, which might as well just be called an optical sensor, because that's what an optical sensor is. God, it's not, I do not believe it's real LiDAR. I don't. Like, technically, as LiDAR stands, light detection and ranging, okay, fine. That might technically be called LiDAR. But the traditional way at which we talk and utilize the term LiDAR, I don't believe they're using it appropriately. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling. Take it for whatever grain of salt that you want. But, Quentin asks, is it possible we could get a side-by-side scan sometime? 2 separate scanners, same object. Sorry if that's asking too much. That's actually in the books. Yeah, it's in the books. It is a plan. Before I sell the Pro 2X, that will be what we do. The thing is, everything has to be consistent. So it has to be out on my standing set. The temperature has to be reasonably consistent. I need to have my studio lights on. That can't change. Remember, if my lighting conditions change, then you kind of have to throw all your old test data out. So that's, I do worry about that. It's not impossible, though. I do it often, right? I often scan the same thing with multiple types of scanners. But things like, I'm not going to pay the $8 to get the data from It Sees 3D. I can just take a screen grab of it, like just, you know, showing it without the texture and with the texture. So there are other ways to kind of get that ultimate result. Mad Cat, I said the same time about the iPhone scanners. They're pretty good. They're not bad, right? It's in your pocket. If you already own an iPhone with a 3D scanner on it, use that. There's no reason why you shouldn't, but don't expect great detail out of it. Apparently the front-facing LiDAR on iPhones is better, or at least it used to be. I don't know what it looks like now. But yeah, dude, we've covered that a couple of times now. But it does, of course, require an iPhone, as Tarzman says. If you don't have an iPhone, then you're not going to be doing LiDAR with your phone. It's just not a thing. There was one Android phone that had it. It was a Google Tango phone. But since I say Google Tango and like maybe one person in the chat right now will know what I'm talking about, tells you why it's not a thing. It was Google's VR or idea of VR, scan the world kind of thing. Yep, FJ Prince, it is not me. I'm still live. That is your internet. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, if you need long range, LiDAR is pretty much your only way to do it. Oh, and photogrammetry is utilizing a set of cameras, whether it is a fixed object and cameras rotating around it, or a bunch of cameras sitting around an object. That is your photogrammetry option. Yeah, EM3D uses the front-facing LiDAR of an iPhone and does a really good job of scanning. They do. Now, I think my brother's girlfriend has an iPhone with the scanner in it. I'll have to try it with hers and see where it all stands. From my understanding, iPhone LiDAR is nowhere near as accurate as even something like a basic Revo Point Pop 2. But I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't have one. But yeah, you have to use a mirror to see what you're scanning because front-facing camera. So kind of dumb in my opinion, but could be much worse, right? Could be much worse. So what is the right scanner for the right application, right? Obviously, picking the right tool for the right job matters a lot more than what the job is, right? If I'm bringing a hammer and I need to just, I'm putting flowers, I'm gardening. A hammer is not the right tool for gardening. No matter what you all might say, a hammer is not an appropriate tool for gardening. Sorry, I am doing something really fast and it's going to bother me until I get it right. Okay, wonderful. It is now right. My world is happier. You got to get the right tool for the right job. So if you're scanning, let's say, chrome wheels on a car, right? You can choose to use a structured light scanner, but you're going to have to code it. You can choose to use a blue light scanner, but your cost goes up considerably. Even cheap blue laser light scanners are going to be very expensive. And until Revo Point can kind of fix the Mini and its software, it's not a great... it's a great scanner if you want to screw around and you don't have high expectations for it. But if you're spending close to $1,000, I feel like you're supposed to have high expectations. But I should also point out that I am uniquely spoiled because I have bought Artec products. I've bought an Eva. I've bought a Ray. And if all goes well, I'm buying a Space Spider. I am buying expensive scanners because I like their software and it is worth the money for me as a business. As a consumer, a Revo Point Pop 2, an occipital structure scanner, an Einstar, if you have the computer, or a Revo Point Mini are going to likely be better for you. Let's look at the secondhand market though. There are quite a few Peel 3D scanners on eBay right now. There's a Peel 2, a Peel 2S, and a Peel 2S CAD. Those are good scanners for the money. Are they like on paper, they're good. I haven't used them. I've used Creaform's Peel 3D software and it's pretty decent. I do like it actually. It's pretty good. But I've never used it with the brand new Peel 3 and I'm told that Peel 3 kind of changes the game for them. But you have like Creaform's Metroscan, which is their really interesting ball scanner. And there are scanners coming out of China like Thunk 3D that should be pretty good? Question mark? Should be. But Thunk 3D is not sending me review units. I have been trying and trying and trying. I want to get review units, but they outright do not want to send me some. Which sucks because I think it's a good idea for someone like me who knows scanning, has been doing it for on and off a decade now. Closer. Yeah, a decade. A decade's fair. Like, I don't know. I feel like just it sucks when only distributors are putting out videos, right? Because if you're a distributor you're going to talk about it in good light. You're going to, because you need to sell them. So, there's something there. FJ Prince, thank you for the £4.49. I appreciate that. I have an iPad with LiDAR, and it's not great at small objects, but it's better for larger ones. That's fair. Most LiDAR is not good on small objects. Like my Artec Ray will not scan something closer than 5 meters. It just won't do it. But it's designed to scan out to 110 meters with 11 millimeters of accuracy or better. So at 110 meters away, its accuracy is 11.7 millimeters. Now you might say, Grant, that's almost a half inch. It's 360 feet away at a half inch. Now I want you to pick your favorite quarterback or your favorite, like, football player, baseball player, soccer, football player. I don't care. Have them kick, throw, whatever you want, a ball, and get it within a half inch at 360 feet every single time, and tell me how bad of accuracy 11.7 millimeters is. There's something to talk about there. But again, that's a $60,000 scanner. That is a copy of a $110,000 scanner. The Artec Ray is a Steinbickler? No, it's a Surphaser 10HS under the hood. It's just slower, and it uses Artec software, which to me is a value. So the iPhone rear LiDAR sucks for scanning small. I haven't tried it. The front-facing LiDAR distance... Oh, LiDAR distance isn't great on the rear either. Geek Toybox has tried to scan a 15-foot statue and couldn't get the top even with the stick. A lot of that might also have to do with the fact that you're using a stick to scan with. So, there's that. And apparently it is like 5 millimeters worth of deviation. To give you an idea, to hit 5 millimeters of deviation on my Ray, it is like 60 or 70 meters for me to start getting close to 5 millimeters deviation. But again, you can buy 30 top-of-the-line iPhones the price of one brand new Artec Ray. So, again, temper your expectations. But, okay, 1/30th of that at 2 meters, you can't scan 2 meters away with an iPhone. It doesn't work. Their LiDAR is not accurate enough. But they are doing these great things. And I've got a couple of buddies that are really good with iPhones doing like room scans and that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of value there with those types of scanners. For the bulk majority of what you want to scan, and I'm saying you as a general you, structured light is likely what you want to use. With scanning spray, whether you use the stuff that FLQ309L said, which is the MagFlux white contrast spray, or you use, A-Sub or one of the others, to me, you've got better value in a structured light. I personally believe it has more usability than you get with other scanners. So, something to note. I do personally believe that a good blue light scanner is important. That's actually why I bought the RevoPoint Mini. I said for $500, which is what I like, $540 through Kickstarter. That was a great deal. If it works reasonably well, I get my money's worth out of it. The first 3 or 4 products I go and scan with it, it'll pay for itself, and life is pretty good. Oh, I'm getting more options for spray. Thank you, Mr. Carver. Spot check SKD-S2 developer spray. Damn it, you all are going to make me spend a bunch of money. Oh, no, it's the same stuff, the Magnaflux. Yeah, it's the same thing. That's the same stuff. So, Carver, why do you think that that is a better thing than A-Sub? Is it just cheaper for you? Like, I don't know why people prefer it. I don't know why people prefer it. Anyways, we're going to do a comparison of that coming up. I believe, like, you can use dry shampoo. The problem is it doesn't evaporate, right? These scanning sprays sublimate off your parts, and that makes it a lot easier to clean up because it just cleans up itself. But at least A-Sub is really, really bitter, and I don't like the smell. So, there is that to note. Okay, Google Chrome is really upset with me. Oh, my whole computer's upset with me. What's going on? I have no idea if I'm still alive, but I think Google Chrome is about to crash on me. So I'm just going to kill Google Chrome and hope it doesn't kill anything. Oh, yeah. Nope. Google Chrome is dead. All right. Let's open everything back up again. Sorry, guys. If you are still watching, I apologize. When Google Chrome crashes, I'm not able to see what you guys are doing. And if I can't see what you guys are doing, I can't respond to you. So I apologize. Let's hope it doesn't kill the stream. It shouldn't, but let's hope it doesn't. Okay. Oh, cool. We are still live. Sweet. FLQ309, again, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says that they have the Creality Lizard, but they just bought the Einstar for the upgrade. I was supposed to get a Lizard from one of our Patreon supporters. They had one. They were going to send it over. But the lawsuit is still ongoing. Let's actually see where that lawsuit is currently. I keep it up on my computer. Okay. All right, yep, the last thing that happened was on November 22nd, and proposed scheduling order, joint proposed civil case management plan by Artec, Kickstarter, and Creality. Last I saw, yep, there was an order for dismissing. Kickstarter has been officially dismissed from the case, so Kickstarter is no longer involved in the case. It is now just between Artec and Creality. And from what I've been told, it's kind of similar in that the Lizard is greatly kneecapped by its software. I didn't include it specifically in our chat because of the ongoing lawsuit. I don't think it's fair to do that because it is a theft of intellectual property, and I don't want to highlight that. You know, it's like how I refuse to say the Geometric Company, what their name is. People obviously know who I'm talking about, but, yeah. Will Strickland says A-Sub made me gag. Yeah, made me gag too. It happened on camera. It's pretty bad. Yeah, A-Sub is rough. A-Sub, it's got like a bitter in it. A-Sub guys. And it's funny because I know they watch these videos, or at least they did. Both of them, both the owners of A-Sub, requested me on LinkedIn when I talked about their product in a video, and they sent me some little samples of it, and they wanted to work together on a couple of products, which is kind of interesting. My brother said it's by design, so you can't huff it. I disagree. I actually don't believe it is by design, because the propellant is propane, so it's not going to do anything. It's not nitrous oxide, which is what some of the propellant is. Like some companies use nitrous oxide as a propellant. That's why they put bitterant in it, so you don't use it to do whippets and stuff. But yeah, to me, a structured light scanner will give the average person the best bang for the buck value that they can get when it comes to 3D scanners. Do I personally believe that you get better value and that you will find better use cases for structured light? For the average user, I say maybe. If you are someone that does a lot of the tabletop gaming, war gaming, that kind of thing, that I think a blue light would be better value, right? I would see for your particular case something like a like the what the hell? The Revo Point. The Revo Point Mini might be a better value because you need smaller stuff. Where like an Artec Eva will not scan a Mini. It'll try. It's going to be a blob. It's not going to pick up the detail. The Artec Space Spider might, but we're going to find out since hopefully I'm buying one. We will see. I found one for a good price. But yeah, I am not 100%, right? It does depend on your needs. If you're trying to scan humans, it's structured light. All day long, it's structured light or photogrammetry. You can utilize a singular DSLR and just take a lot of photos and then put them together with software. I forget the name of the software that most people use, and I'm sorry. I do forget that. But it is possible. It is better to have stationary cameras that you have a known distance for. You'll get better quality detail out of it. But when you're taking, even 15 megapixel images and you have 80 of them, that's a ton of data. But if you are moving it around, let's say a human, right, and you have a booth where they stand in and something moves around them, minuscule movements like breathing, humans breathing, will cause inaccuracies in your scan that will create problems for you. Now, if you're going to make miniature versions of these people, does that matter? Nope. If you are trying to do cosplay armor, does that matter? No. In fact, I tell you, stick your gut out a little bit. Let's make this so you've had a really big meal and now you want to get into your cosplay. Let's scan you like that. That kind of stuff, to me, makes more sense. Quentin Lutrier says, Luter? I want to say Lutrier. It sounds cooler as Lutrier. Gotta go, folks. Great stream, Grant. Thanks for the info. Enjoy your day, folks. Keep making awesome. That's right. Always keep making awesome. And keep liking the stream. I appreciate everyone for pitching in and supporting it. John Carver asked, do you think macro lenses with photogrammetry would work for minis? I mean, it could. Yeah? Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't. I'd probably try that first since, you know, most people have good phones that can do good photos. I mean, yeah, I guess there's no reason why it wouldn't, right? Your biggest issue is going to get enough contrast lighting, so you would need probably supplementary lighting for that to get good hard contrast. Because if photogrammetry can't pick up contrast and differences in distances with that contrast, it is not going to give you a clean image. That is normally the problem with stationary object photogrammetry with a single camera, is keeping consistent lighting. If you can do that, yeah, then yeah, you do it. Like scan spray for a for photogrammetry actually only makes it worse. You want color differentials and all that. Like if you wear, and this is the same thing with structured light, if you wear a repeating pattern in photogrammetry, it can mess up the algorithm that puts all the photos together. It's actually pretty funny when it happens. Geek Toy Box is asking, am I missing something, or do you have to take pics in the app for Polycam? I believe you do, but I believe for an iPhone, it can also rely on LiDAR. The thing with Polycam is that what Polycam doesn't do, and at least not to my knowledge, maybe they do and I've never seen it. To be clear, I have never used it. I don't need to use it. I'm spoiling the fact that I don't need to use it. You need to calibrate your camera. Cameras have fisheye, right? My phone has 3 separate lenses, a 0.5, a 1, and a 3x. These are actual glass, right? If you don't calibrate your distances with your lens that you're using to take your photos with, your resulting data won't be good. I will reach out to Polycam, see if they want to sponsor a video doing this. It would be pretty cool to take a look at kind of what Polycam could do, because I've always told people, look, try Polycam first. You have nothing to lose by trying Polycam. Nothing other than your time. So what? But is it going to get as good as something like an Einstar? I don't know. And to be clear, I will say, props to Shiny 3D. The Einstar case is really nice. Like it's the Artec, the $20,000 Artec Eva comes in a cardboard case. So stupid. But this ergonomics, this is your Einstar scanner. The ergonomics on this are terrible. Like holding it like this is just absolutely atrocious. You are going to get a repetitive strain injury. Also props to Shining 3D for having their really nice cable, which you can see. Let's see if it'll, yeah. It has power input back where the USB input is. So you only have one cable running to the scanner. It is so nice. It also has a calibration plate, which is something that the Eva doesn't. So again, kudos to Shining 3D. I think that, again, they provide a lot of value for the money. And their calibration plate, which is right here, comes in a little container. It is specific for the scanner. It is a piece of glass. Okay. And all this stuff is specifically known, and it is serialized. So it is serialized to your scanner, which is pretty cool. The EVA has no way to calibrate it. Not that I'm aware of. So very, very, very cool to see that. But yeah, props to Shining 3D. I think that they have a much nicer, like, unboxing experience because, I mean, they include a case. Artec wants to charge you $450 for a case, which is stupid. Mind you, different prices of the scanners. But you have to look at what your computer is as well. If you don't have a rip-roaring, rockin' computer with all the horsepower in the world, then something like the Einstar is not going to work for you because it's not going to have the horsepower. If you have a computer like this one here, 4-core, 8-thread, dedicated 4GB GPU, 32 gigs of RAM that I upgraded, RevoPoint works fine on it. The Artec EVA works fine on it. Your high-end scanners will work fine on it. Generally speaking, they'll just run slower. But maybe you don't have a laptop that you can take around with you. So something like the occipital structure scanner might be a better value. The newest generation of the occipital structure. I don't know how much money they are. Let's find out. Structure.io. It is $1,000. Holy shit. $1,000. Good Lord have mercy. That is expensive. Jeez, $1,000. Yeah, sorry. I thought mine was like way less than that when I bought it. So yeah, no thanks. Jeez. This brings up the point of buying scanners secondhand. If I go to eBay, I'm not going to share my screen. You guys can do some of this on your own. But if I look up structure scanner, I can find everything but structure scanners. Okay, well, I can see a Creaform Peel scanner, the Gen 1 for $2,200. RevoPoint Minis for like $500. Artec EVA for $7,500. Damn, that's cheap in Buffalo. That's pretty cheap for that. And it comes with Artec Studio, it says. Huh. A perpetual license. I don't know what version. But I actually don't see any structure scanners available. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you'll notice the prices wax and wane. You've got a lot of scanners from Shining 3D. You've got the Pro 2X. You got the Pro HD, the Pro 2X 2020, the Pro 2X Plus. They're all good scanners, and they all will be different price points. They're all structured light based scanners, just with different optics and different, what the hell? Different optics and different, what am I trying to say? Lights, different LED lights. Sorry. I would say for a Shining 3D product, buying them secondhand is totally fine. Obviously, buy through a place where you get, some level of like purchase protection, like eBay. Use PayPal, so you have purchase protection, obviously. And if the seller is refusing, they can go to hell. There's absolutely no reason for somebody to not provide purchase protection. That's just stupid. So they can provide the purchase protection or they can go to hell. No reason. No reason at all. Ooh, an Einscan HX for $7,500. Shit. That's a good price. It's a very good price. But there are a lot of scanners out there that you can get for cheap used. Something to take note. That's all. Oh yeah, shipping and handling for eBay, the like $500 shipping and handling. Yeah, and Duff specifically for you up in the Great White North. Obviously that can be a problem. So you obviously be aware of that. I don't know if I would buy from local sellers without the ability to test, and test. If you are going to buy from somebody locally, a 3D scanner, make sure you have some sort of scanning standard that you can utilize. Something like, I don't know, like a sphere or an object that you know some general dimensions on it, so you can verify before you give them money. The last thing I want to see people do is spend money on something and then it not work out for them for whatever reason, right? Maybe they got burned somehow, it came broken, and now the seller's not, reaching back out to them, or they bought it sight unseen with no purchase protection, yada, 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 right? The list goes on and on. I want people to be safer with this kind of thing, right? Unless you know what you're doing, buy with purchase protection. And if you don't know what you're doing and you're not comfortable buying secondhand, that's okay. You can buy it brand new. Like, I bought my Einstar brand new. I bought my Riva Point Mini brand new because I said, realistically, I can resell it and not take a loss on it. So there's that. So yeah, a lot of options that exist out there. Which one is best for you? It depends. And I know he said it depends. He always says it depends. Yeah, it depends. It depends on what your use cases are. Oh yeah, soda can. That's a great option. Mr. Pfeiffer says, always bring a pop can. Super easy to measure and easy to carry. Yes. Awesome. John Carver says, is there a system that you see as more user-friendly for final output data and models to use in other programs like Fusion? I mean, Geomagics is obviously one of the better ones out there, Design X, but those are $25,000 per year softwares. So, unfortunately, to my knowledge, there are no good translation programs. Peel 3D seems to kind of own that market of, all right, this is it, and it just works. I don't know how it works, but apparently it works. So, yeah, be careful there. But Shining 3D has an import feature into SolidWorks. I wish they would have one into Fusion. But as far as I'm aware, there really aren't any good ways to take those surfaces and solids and take your scan models and turn them into surfaces and solids. Yeah, I think that about covers it. $10 super chat from Mr. Pfeiffer. First time I've not had to correct someone after they pronounce my name. GG, bro. Thank you, sir. Yeah, how do people not know it's not Pfeiffer? The P is silent. I'm pretty sure that's, it's Eastern European. I think it's German, but could be wrong. But yeah, it's Pfeiffer. How do people not know? What do they say? Mr. Pfeiffer? Come on. It's Pfeiffer. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I greatly appreciate the support. Now, I'm looking on eBay right now, and I'm seeing some good deals, but a lot of them are going to be your really cheap scanners, like the XYZ scanner. Don't buy that, okay? Some of these DIY scanners, don't buy that. If it says for parts only, don't buy that, right? Don't buy stuff that is clearly a little sketchy unless you are ready for it to be a little sketchy. Now, if you kind of know what you're doing, are reasonably confident in everything, send it, right? Go for it. Send it. I had no problems with that. But be careful, right? I bought my scanner, the Pro 2X used on eBay, and it was in working condition according to the seller. When it arrived to me, it was not working. The seller worked with me to get it repaired. I ended up eating the cost of the repair. It wasn't worth me trying to fight eBay and PayPal because he basically said it was working when I sent it. Here's a video. And I said, did you insure? He said, yeah, I insured. I said, okay, all right, I'll deal with shipping insurance. And so that's what I did. I dealt with shipping insurance, and that's actually still hasn't paid out. So I'm still working on that one. But I'm going to end up selling that scanner at a loss anyways. I don't need it. But it was a good test to mess around with Shining 3D because I knew they were working on a new product and I wanted to see what their software was like. And I wanted to have one of their scanners to try it. So that was my use case. So if you are looking at a Pro 2X, hit me up because I will sell it relatively cheap, like $1,500 or less cheap. So, you know, ask me nicely and I'll give it to you for a better price. But, yeah, with scanners, I really personally, like this is, you know, personal beliefs, structured light will do 95% of what your needs are. For everything else, scan spray will solve it for you. If it's a small part, photogrammetry, just be careful with your lighting. If you need to get ancillary lighting, you can get little tiny photography lights like this big that you can put, you know, next to a phone or something that would easily give you better lighting because consistent lighting is very, very important. Same thing with structured light. The more consistent your lighting is going to be, the better quality of a scan you're going to get. So what does this mean, right? Yeah, it is a bit of you get what you pay for. I hate it. You hate it. The guy next to me hates it. Everybody hates it. But until these more affordable companies like Shining 3D is a great affordable company that has a pretty good software, just not with the Einstar. But until the more affordable companies really push into these markets hard, I don't think we're going to see a lot lower prices. So I think it comes down to you kind of just have to deal with it. And I hate that. But as someone who, I just kind of cut 3D scanning out of my business model when I didn't own nice scanners. And if somebody asked about it, if it made sense, we would do it. But if it didn't make sense, we wouldn't do it. It all kind of depended on what we were doing and why. So, you know, obviously, deal with your level of risk. If you are willing to spend more time and deal with a used scanner, there are phenomenal deals out there. But if you want something that just works and you don't have to fiddle with, it's going to be really easy for you to use. Unfortunately, you got to spend some money. And while I haven't had a lot of time on a Shining or on a PO3D scanner, again, I gotta reach out to PO3D again and see. Last time I reached out to them, we had like 2,500 subs, so it's not really comparable. But they might be a decent option. But now with the PO3 at 10 grand, is that even affordable anymore? I don't think so. So to me, it's expensive software, but I mean, damn it, it works. And it works great. I got to give the win to Artec. But I can't give that win if you're like a newbie, right? If you're just trying to get started, go to RevoPoint, get one of their scanners because I don't think you're going to get anything for less money. Obviously, keep an eye on Shining 3D if their software can get better. And I think that it can. But if their software can get better, I think we've got a lot of opportunity here to really pull through and get a affordable structured light scanner for very little money. Now, mind you, the best possible quality that Shining 3D claims on that is 0.2 millimeter. So it's not great, but a 1/4 mil is pretty damn good. That's tiny. Okay. Now, in the world of metrology, that's miles. That's absolute miles, and that's where a laser scanner might make more sense. But if you're looking for a beginner scanner for metrology, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Not this far in, at least. But you'd use a CMM. If you were wondering, you use a CMM. That's what you would use. or like a Faro arm or something like that, because you'll get much better accuracy with something like a Faro arm than you would get with a handheld scanner of any type. But there are really good quality small scanners out there. I want to give the RevoPoint Mini some more time. I think it's got the ability to be good, but like a lot of these cheap scanners, it is absolutely kneecapped by shitty software. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in a bit of a blue ocean. Those of you that know, there is a massive opportunity for a company to come in that actually knows what they're doing when it comes to software, to build good software for decent hardware and really take some of these big boys out there and make them suffer a little bit. But because a lot of these big boys have big patents and even bigger lawyers, you need to make sure that you're doing it above board. So if anything, this video, this podcast, it's more of a call out. I want to see the affordable companies give a damn about their software, because until they can, I don't think we're going to see a good option. Until Shining 3D puts more effort into the Einstar, and you know what? Here's what's even crazy about the Einstar. They give out the software at Google Drive. So let's see if they've had any updates. Nope. October 8th of 2022 was the last time they updated their software. And I'm on that latest revision. And that was by Fang Yang, which I'm sure I am butchering that, but it's F-A-N-G space Y-A-N-G. And they're on 1.0.4.1. That's their version number. I think Shining 3D has a great opportunity. I just hope they can figure it out. I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts. You know, what are you looking for in a scanner, right? I mean, obviously, I want good, fast, and cheap, but as Duff says, good, fast, cheap, pick two. Worst Peter says Bamboo X scan when. You know, honestly, I'd try it. If Bamboo came out with a scanner, with the amount of tech they're pumping into their printers for the prices they are, I'd try it. Prusa scanner when? I'd try it. There's a lot of opportunity. You got to make sure that you know the patents and you got a good attorney to help you navigate those waters. But if you've got all that, I think you're golden. Damn it, Eric, you're late. I'm like closing this thing out and now you're joining. I was talking about you earlier and I sent up the bat signal and now you're here. Everyone, Eric Cederberg. He is a professional at 3D scanning. He got the Einstar a few days before I did, and he got his RevoPoint a couple of weeks before I did, and absolutely teased the hell out of me about them. He's getting great scans off of it. But yes, you should have probably joined the stream an hour and a half ago, Eric. I should have pinged you directly. That was probably on me. I always worry about pinging people directly because I don't want, like, to feel like I'm annoying them. Eric, opinion, scanner, cheap scanner, what's it going to be? Because to me right now, it's the RevoPoint Pop 2, the Einstar, or the RevoPoint Mini. They all do different things. None of them are particularly any good compared to their more expensive counterparts. But I think if you have a really nice computer, the Einstar makes a great value. And if they can get their software dealt with, it could be a great scanner. RevoPoint Mini, amazing hardware, absolutely atrocious software. And the Pop 2 kind of fills in that in between. But as Eric says, Einstar for larger things, RevoPoint Mini for small things. And you know what? You add a $2,000 computer to that, you are all in for under $5,000. And I know that's a lot of money for the average user, but you can get a lot done for $5,000. And I will tell you, this year alone, I have done more scans. I have made more than $5,000 on $20,000 scanners, but I've made more money than $5,000 in my first year back of doing high-end 3D scanning. So, something to note. And I knew Eric had that opinion about the lizard, that he hated it. It was absolutely terrible. But even further, oh, that is a great, damn it, Build on Sound. That is a great video title. I am throwing that into my rants channel. And if we use that video title, I'm going to do it. 3D scan or 3D scam. Yeah, because I'm going to use that. That's going to be that's going to be the title. That's going to be the title for the Einstar video. 3D scan or 3D scam. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll give you credit in the video for that too. That's a good one. I like that. That's good. Yeah, stay away from the lizards. When Creality software was a dead copy of the Artec Studio software, it was awesome. In fact, I definitely don't have the old copy of their Creality software. I was going to try to get it to work with my Eva, but it doesn't. But yeah, it is like exactly the same. Creality deserves to be sued, and I'm glad someone is finally holding them accountable. So you heard that here first. I'm glad Creality's being sued. And all the fanboys out there that left negative reviews on Artec's Google pages and all that, that's not cool. Quit being dicks. But when a company violates intellectual property, I don't care if you disagree with it. It's the law. You need to abide by it. And if you can't, then you need to find a way around it, right? And if that is you change the software a little bit, whatever it might be, fine. You know? Eric says he does kind of dislike the marketing for the Riva Point Mini that talks about 20 micron precision all the time, and people expect it to deliver the same scan quality as the FreeScan UE Pro, which is 25,000, because they have the same 20 micron number. But Eric, didn't you get pretty damn good results? You got like 27 microns out of your Mini in like real world scenarios, or I guess ideal case scenario. But the Mini is really tough to scan with. I was showing this earlier, Eric. I don't know if you had seen this. Somebody produced a printable model that can go onto the build plate and actually screw into those 1/4 screws that has tracking elements on it for the Mini. Build on Sound says, can't wait for them to go bankrupt so we can get 3D printers on the cheap because of it. They're not going to go bankrupt. I think Creality is at that point where they are too big to fail. But they will absolutely likely be paying a pretty considerable fine for this bit of a snafu. Because that's what it is. It's a snafu. Yeah, there are a lot of options out there, especially when you go over 10 grand. But I don't think that the average user is looking to spend that much money. Eric will tell you, I will tell you the same thing. Artec has the best software on the market, period. That is why you buy Artec scanners. Their actual scanners are kind of middle of the road, but they have such good software that it doesn't matter. The Eva is the exact same scanner that I bought 10 years ago when I first got an Eva, or 8 years ago when I first got an Eva. It is the same hardware. It is identical. Nothing has changed. The spider, and Eric, I don't know if you know this, I finally figured out what changed. There was a gray spider from Artec, and then they went to the blue spider. The new one is blue. The old one is gray. The only revision they made is they put a temperature sensor in it, so it can detect its temperature and do temperature compensation. The old ones can't do that. That's it. That's the only change the spider has had in 10 years. But what Artec does is they make really good software and really good updates every single year. And Eric says, yep, seen that. And yes, the Mini produces good accuracy locally, but globally on larger things, it's another thing. They don't specify drift over distance, and the resolution is much different. The gray one was the spider. The blue one is the space spider. I have seen Artec call them both Space Spiders. And they randomly will throw space around, and sometimes they don't use it. I don't know why, but I'm looking at buying a gray spider. I have a deposit on a gray spider. I will send you the amount that I'm paying for it. I am very happy with that amount. But I don't really need an Artec spider, but what the hell? I already have the software, and the scanner's not very expensive. Comparatively, it's used. So why not, right? So, yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. This one is a little nebulous, right? Ultimately, 3D scanning is not as straightforward as anyone wants it to be. It is very, very, very complicated, and it is 100% dependent on how good the software is. If RevoPoint can make good software for the Mini and actually put real-world data, like Eric is saying, drift and things like that, to give us real data on this thing, then we'll know what we're getting. But for less than $1,000, it's pretty good. Like, honestly, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. FLQ309L says, I've had, and I am assuming that is your ham radio license. Like, that feels like a ham radio call sign. So if it is, send it up for the other ham guys that hang out here. We have some ham geeks in the chat. Bit on Sound says, I saw a video about 4D printing, and they claimed it was 4D because it changed shape over time. What? I don't know. Marketing wank is marketing wank. Just like RevoPoint said, a 20 micron accuracy. Okay, but over what distance? What was your sample size? What was everything that you went into it? Do not believe the marketing crap that the companies tell you, because it's bullshit. Artec claims that I should see 0.1 millimeter accuracy on my EVA, and I have never, ever seen 0.1. I have seen 0.2 once. Once I saw 0.2, and I've seen 0.3 a lot, but I've never seen 0.1, ever. Maybe it's because I suck. I don't know. They like to troll me often. So, hi, Gleb and all the other Artec guys. You all like to watch my videos and troll me, so go ahead, troll away. Or maybe you're not trolling and I'm misunderstanding the language barriers. Eric says, software is everything. There's a reason why a lot of people doing reverse engineering with scanning are paying for Geomagic Design X. It's process scan data, even if it is far from cheap. Yep. It's why I've been looking at it, but we don't have enough money right now to validate that. But I know some guys that work in 3D systems, and maybe they can kick me a license for a couple of videos. You feel me? Bill on South says, I got a link if you want to have a laugh. You won't be able to send a link in the chat. It's not possible. YouTube turns that off. So DM it to me on Twitter, and I'll take a look at it. But yeah, software is really, like, good hardware is crippled by bad software, and mediocre hardware is made beautiful by good software. If companies like Artec would open up their software to be used by other companies, like if I could use Artec Studio with my RevoPoint Mini, holy shit. Like, done. Done, 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 done. Every single day of the week, done. I would do it. Because that would actually make the Mini a good product. If Shining 3D used the same software that they use for all their other products that they use for their Einstar, then I would love it, because the Einstar would actually have good software. It is still crippled by its really poor management of RAM. Like, really poor management of RAM. Are these problems fixable? They're all fixable. But the companies themselves must care to put in that time to fix it. So where do I stand? I agree with Eric, and I said it before he came in, I think. If you want cheap, and you're willing to spend a little bit of money on a laptop or a desktop, the Einstar for medium to large parts, and the RevoPoint Mini for small parts is the way to go. If you have more money to spend, an EVA, an Artec EVA is a great option. And when I can find EVAs on eBay for less than $8,000, that to me is a pretty valuable option. And one that is absolutely worth looking into. So, something to note. Oh, man. Okay, I just saw your DM. I'll look at it when we're done streaming. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. We've been doing this for almost 2 hours. And I was going to wrap it up, but then Eric came in. And when Eric comes in, you got to go a little bit longer. That's all I got for you guys today. Please go call your loved ones. Today, of course, is the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Sanjay Mortimer, one of the greats in this industry. He died way too young. So go call some loved ones. Tell them you love them. But stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one.